General Heinz Guderian received orders during early spring 1943 to assume position as Inspector General of Armored Troops, with responsibility for rebuilding panzer forces that had been devastated during winter fighting on Eastern Front. The appointment reflected recognition of Guderian's expertise in armored warfare and his successful leadership of panzer formations during campaigns in Poland, France, and initial stages of Operation Barbarossa. Guderian immediately conducted assessments of panzer divisions, discovering that prolonged combat operations, equipment losses, and inadequate replacement systems had reduced most formations to fractions of authorized strength. The tank production statistics showed that German industry was manufacturing fewer vehicles monthly than were being destroyed in combat, creating downward spiral where panzer forces were becoming progressively weaker. The recommendations that Guderian presented to Adolf Hitler during spring 1943 emphasized necessity of concentrating armored forces for decisive operations rather than dispersing tanks across entire front in penny packet formations supporting infantry. The operational concept advocated massing panzer divisions at critical points, enabling breakthrough operations that could achieve strategic results through mobile warfare, exploiting German advantages in tactical proficiency and armored doctrine. Guderian argued that diluting tank strength by assigning small detachments to defensive sectors wasted scarce armored resources without creating combat power necessary for offensive success. The organizational reforms proposed included withdrawing panzer divisions from frontline service for refitting and training, creating strategic reserve available for concentrated employment. Hitler's response to Guderian's recommendations involved accepting proposals for increasing tank production and improving training programs, while rejecting fundamental concept of withdrawing panzer divisions from active sectors for reconstitution. The rationale presented was that defensive situation on Eastern Front required maintaining every available combat unit in line, preventing Soviet offensives from achieving breakthroughs. The strategic calculation emphasized holding territory over rebuilding mobile reserves, reflecting Hitler's conviction that yielding ground was unacceptable, regardless of operational advantages that concentrated armor might provide. Guderian's arguments that dispersed tank employment resulted in piecemeal losses without corresponding strategic gains failed to overcome Hitler's insistence on defending everywhere simultaneously. The planning for Operation Citadel offensive against Kursk salient during summer 1943 illustrated tensions between Guderian's advocacy for concentrated armored employment and Hitler's interference in operational details. Guderian supported concept of attacking Kursk, but opposed repeated delays that Hitler ordered while waiting for new Panther and Tiger tanks to arrive in quantities sufficient for guaranteeing success. The postponements from May through early July enabled Soviets to construct elaborate defensive positions, including minefields, anti-tank obstacles, and fortified zones in depth, creating situation where German attack would face prepared defenses rather than achieving surprise. Guderian's warnings that delays were sacrificing operational advantage went unheeded as Hitler insisted on assembling maximum possible armored strength before launching offensive. Field Marshal Erich von Manstein, commanding Army Group South, presented operational plans for Citadel involving coordinated attacks from north and south, converging to encircle Soviet forces in Kursk salient. The concentration of panzer divisions, including new Panther battalions and Tiger companies, represented largest German armored force assembled since 1941. Guderian inspected units designated for offensive, discovering that mechanical reliability problems with Panthers meant that substantial portion of newest tanks would break down during advance, reducing available combat power. The technical issues combined with Soviet defensive preparations suggested that achieving breakthrough would be more difficult than planners anticipated. The launch of Operation Citadel on July 5th occurred after Soviet intelligence had discerned German intentions, enabling Red Army to position reserves and prepare defensive fires. The attacks by Model's 9th Army from north and Hoth's 4th Panzer Army from south achieved limited penetrations, but encountered defensive depth that prevented rapid exploitation. The Battle of Prokhorovka on July 12th, involving hundreds of tanks from both sides, resulted in tactical stalemate, where German forces inflicted heavier losses on Soviets, but couldn't achieve breakthrough, enabling encirclement of Kursk salient. Hitler's decision to terminate Citadel offensive on July 13th, citing need to redeploy forces to Italy following Allied invasion of Sicily, represented acknowledgement that operation had failed to achieve objectives. Guderian's assessment following Citadel emphasized that offensive had consumed irreplaceable panzer forces without achieving strategic results, validating his earlier warnings about delays and dispersed employment. The casualty statistics documented loss of hundreds of tanks and thousands of experienced crew members that German training and production systems couldn't replace quickly. The strategic initiative passed permanently to Soviets, who launched counteroffensives in August, exploiting German weaknesses created by Citadel losses. Guderian communicated to Hitler that panzer forces needed period of reconstitution, and that future operations should employ armor more selectively, rather than committing to attritional battles where material advantages favored enemy. Hitler's directive during autumn 1943, requiring panzer divisions to hold defensive sectors on Eastern Front, directly contradicted Guderian's organizational concept of maintaining armored forces as mobile reserve. The orders specified that panzer formations would be assigned to army groups for employment in defensive operations, preventing Soviet advances. Guderian protested that using tanks for static defense wasted their mobility and concentrated firepower, while exposing armored vehicles to artillery and anti-tank weapons in situations where advantages of maneuver couldn't be exploited. The professional judgment was that panzer divisions should remain behind front lines available for counter-attacking Soviet penetrations rather than being consumed in linear defense. The conference during November 1943, where Guderian presented statistics showing declining panzer strength and increasing Soviet tank production, illustrated growing gap between German capabilities and enemy resources. The data indicated that Red Army was fielding more tanks monthly than Wehrmacht possessed an entire Eastern Front, creating quantitative imbalance that tactical excellence couldn't overcome indefinitely. Guderian emphasized that preserving existing panzer forces while selectively employing them for counter-offensives represented only viable strategy given production limitations. Hitler's response focused on increasing German tank output and developing new heavy tank designs rather than addressing fundamental issue of how available armor should be employed operationally. The appointment of Guderian as acting chief of Army General Staff following July 1944 assassination attempt against Hitler placed him in position where he witnessed firsthand how strategic decisions were made. The role involved attending Hitler's military conferences, observing that operational discussions were dominated by Hitler's monologues rather than professional military analysis. Guderian discovered that intelligence assessments documenting Soviet strength and capabilities were dismissed when they contradicted Hitler's preconceptions. The recommendations from field commanders requesting permission for tactical withdrawals or requesting reinforcements were routinely rejected based on political considerations rather than military necessity. The desperate defensive battles during late 1944 as Soviet forces advanced toward German borders illustrated consequences of ignoring professional military advice about employment of panzer reserves. The remaining German armored formations were committed piecemeal to emergency interventions, preventing Soviet breakthroughs, but being ground down through attrition without achieving decisive results. Guderian's warnings that preserving panzer strength for concentrated counter-offensives offered better prospects than dispersed defensive employment had been proven correct through experience, but changing operational approach at that late stage was impossible given deteriorating strategic situation. The planning for Ardennes offensive during December 1944 represented final major disagreement between Guderian and Hitler regarding employment of armored reserves. Guderian advocated using available panzer divisions for counter-offensive on Eastern Front, preventing Soviet winter offensive that intelligence indicated was being prepared. Hitler insisted on committing armor to attack in West, arguing that achieving surprise and capturing Allied supply depots would fundamentally alter strategic balance. The debate during planning conferences involved Guderian presenting analysis showing that fuel shortages and Allied air superiority made Western offensive unlikely to succeed, while Eastern Front situation was critical. Hitler overruled objections directing that Ardennes operation would proceed. The failure of Ardennes offensive during December to January consumed German armored reserves without achieving strategic objectives that Hitler had predicted. The panzer divisions committed to Western attack suffered heavy losses, while Soviet winter offensive, launched January 1945, overwhelmed defensive positions on Eastern Front. Guderian's predictions that concentration of armor in West would leave East vulnerable were validated as Soviet forces achieved rapid advances that German forces lacking mobile reserves couldn't contain. The recriminations during conferences following Ardennes failure involved Hitler blaming subordinate commanders for inadequate execution rather than acknowledging that operational concept had been flawed. The final months of war, during early 1945, found Guderian attending conferences where Hitler issued orders for counter-offensives, using divisions that existed only on paper, and directed defensive stands at positions that had already been overrun. The disconnect between Hitler's strategic direction and battlefield realities created farcical situations where commanders were ordered to execute operations that were physically impossible. Guderian's attempts to present accurate assessments of military situation resulted in confrontations where Hitler accused him of defeatism and lack of faith. The professional relationship deteriorated to point where Guderian was relieved from Chief of Staff position during March 1945. When Guderian learned Hitler ignored his warnings occurred progressively from 1943. Recommendations about concentrating armor being rejected through Citadel, delays, sacrificing surprise to 1944, dispersed employment-consuming panzer forces without decisive results, and finally, Ardennes offensive, diverting resources from critical Eastern Front. The pattern involved Guderian presenting professional military analysis based on tactical realities, production statistics, and operational experience, while Hitler made strategic decisions based on political considerations, ideological commitments, and wishful thinking about capabilities. The personal frustration that Guderian experienced involved recognizing that his expertise in armored warfare was being solicited but not heeded. The appointment as Inspector General and later as Acting Chief of Staff created expectation that professional judgment would influence strategic direction. The reality was that Hitler valued Guderian's technical knowledge about tanks and training, but rejected operational recommendations that conflicted with political objectives or territorial imperatives. The psychological burden combined professional obligation to provide honest assessments with knowledge that advice would likely be ignored, creating moral dilemma about whether continued service served any useful purpose. The correspondence that Guderian maintained with fellow officers during 1944 to 1945 revealed widespread frustration among professional military leadership about strategic direction. The conversations documented recognition that war was being lost through accumulation of decisions where political considerations overruled military necessity. The shared understanding among experienced commanders was that Wehrmacht retained tactical proficiency, but that strategic errors at highest levels were creating situations where battlefield excellence couldn't achieve meaningful results. The institutional culture that had developed prevented open dissent, making resignation or refusal to implement orders tantamount to treason. The ethical dimension involved Guderian's awareness that orders he transmitted from Hitler to field commanders were contributing to prolonging war that was militarily lost. The responsibility for implementing directives that professional judgment indicated were wrong created complicity in decisions that were producing unnecessary casualties and destruction. The rationalization that remaining in position enabled providing some moderating influence on worst impulses conflicted with recognition that fundamental strategic direction remained unchanged regardless of professional advice offered. The consequences of ignoring professional advice included destruction of irreplaceable panzer forces through piecemeal commitment, loss of strategic initiative through delays and dispersed operations, and ultimate defeat when accumulated errors created situations that tactical excellence couldn't remedy. The institutional dysfunction, where professional military judgment was systematically subordinated to political imperatives, illustrated broader failure of German strategic decision-making during war's final years. The tragedy was that alternative approaches that Guderian and other professional officers recommended might not have changed ultimate outcome, but could have reduced scale of catastrophe and preserved more lives.